guess I'll just drop my whole hot seat bid altogether, since someone obviously doesn't want to win. Well, let me tell you this. You have the perfect coach to tank with New York, and I hope Trevor Lawrence is worth it. He even leaves college and commits to the draft anyways.
Are you ready for some football? It's a coronavirus party! Get your burgers, get your beers, sit your fat asses down. We're about to play some football coming up in every town.
Welcome to TNN NFL Sunday Kickoff. Hello and welcome back to yet another installment of TNN NFL Sunday Kickoff. I'm your host Jasyn Smith, and yes, I did go to college, but only long enough to visit your mom. Anyways, we've got yet another crazy week in the NFL to cover, as well as making my Week 9 picks. So let's just dive straight into the dirt with this week's renewed recap. Vikings at Packers. The Vikings traveled down to Green Bay in Week 8. Or should I say Dalvin fucking Cook traveled down to Green Bay and reminded them exactly how they felt in the NFC Championship game last year. Hell, Cook felt so bad for him he was so kind as to tackle himself for them to make things interesting. Jesus Christ, Green Bay, get a defensive coordinator that isn't a failed Browns coach. Why did you think that was a good idea? And Rodgers, come on, man, give us back that double check we've been waiting for. I know it was as windy as I've ever seen in Green Bay, but you used to be able to slice and dice that ball through anything. Come on, old man Rodgers, you're the only hope for this team until they learn how to fucking tackle and stop the run. And considering you guys won against the 49ers, there is something there. There's gotta be. As for Minnesota, they get the desperate Lions coming into town, which should make for a great divisional matchup. However, I'll take the Vikings over the Lions in this one. Should be close, but if you can do it to Rodgers, you can do it to Stafford. Steelers at Ravens. Well, it was a close one in Baltimore, but everyone knows one butt cheek equals 2 feet. Ben Roethlisberger looks like a new man out there, rolling undefeated for the first 7 games of the year. He's still got some work and recovery to do, but hey, this man is cutting booze out of his life, he's cutting porn out of his life, also cutting his old and moldy elbow out of his life and got a new one. Does the porn have anything to do with the elbow? Well, who the fuck cares when you're undefeated, baby? Will they continue their hot streak this week against the Cowboys? What kind of fucking question is that with a defense like this going up a third-string led broken team? Shit, they can beat them with their fucking backups on the field. I'll take the Steelers over the Cowboys. As for the Ravens, they put up a good fight, but in the end, it all came down to a late fourth quarter drive. Down by 4 with about 7 minutes left, the Ravens stuck with the run the entire drive. And even when Lamar Jackson was put in a must-throw situation, he still chose to fucking run. Most likely due to his wild inconsistencies, putting the ball in absolute perfect spots on one play, to throwing an absolute perfect ball to the defenders on the next. Now, they travel down to Indianapolis to take on a Colts team that seems to have similar issues at quarterback. Only said quarterback is immobile rather than being a freak athlete. Both teams have a good defense too, which should make for a close contest, but ultimately it comes down to can the Colts beat the top teams of the league. I feel like the creative looks Baltimore brings to the table may be too much for Old Man Rivers to handle. I'll take the Ravens on the road. 49ers at Seahawks. Well, I just want to say, I fucking love George Kittle. It seems like each and every time I see him with the ball in his hands, he does something to make me just want to hit someone. Fighting for every yard, getting the most out of every down, and practically being an extra offensive lineman from the tight end position while he's at it. But sadly, he, along with the rest of San Francisco, just can't stay healthy enough to make a run. With Kittle and Garoppolo both injured again, the 49ers have $80 million of cap value on their IR. Now, I'm no mathematician, but NFC championships minus $80 million of talent plus a 4-4 record, That doesn't seem to add up to another Super Bowl run, especially considering you just dropped a key divisional matchup against the Seahawks. Speaking of which, Russell Wilson, just after throwing 3 picks and getting ripped all week for it, just looked cool as a cucumber on a brisk spring morning in Week 8. Throwing for 4 touchdowns and an ice-cold 0 interceptions, Mr. Unlimited looks to be back to infinite form. As for his sidekick, Mr. Swiftness, well, he was just back to doing Metcalf things. Burning defenses, walking tightropes, and scoring touchdowns. The only thing we didn't get from him this week was another big hit. But hey, I'll take any big plays you give us, DK. Now this week, Seattle travels to Buffalo to take on the Bills. I think it'll be a close game, but it's hard to bet against Wilson when he's playing like this. I'll take the Seahawks over the Bills this week. Saints at Bears. It was an all-out brawl as the Saints traveled to Chicago to take on the Bears in an overtime battle. But we'll get into the street fights a little later. For now, it's Kamara that was the big story from this game. Serving as the best security blanket for a quarterback in the league, it seemed as though 80% of the passes coming from Breeze were passes to Kamara out of the backfield. It was either Kamara or everyone's favorite backup, everything, Taysom Hill. Football purists and grumps may not like the ways of the new, but goddamn if there isn't something just badass about a quarterback throwing a touchdown pass to a fellow quarterback in the NFL. Who would have thought? As for the Bears, they just couldn't stop shooting themselves in the foot throughout the night. Their wide receiver Javon Wims got ejected, but according to Troy Aikman, that wasn't even the ugliest part of the game. The biggest eyesore of the night was what is referred to as the Bears' offense. Inconsistent plays by Nick Foles and just flat-out bad play calling by Matt Nagy was the overall downfall of Chicago at home on Sunday, causing them to fall a second place in the NFC North behind the Packers. All I have to say is thank God for your defense, Chicago. Otherwise, you'd be bottom feeding with the Lions right about now. So the Saints travel down to Tampa Bay for Sunday Night Football and a head-to-head battle for TD supremacy. Drew Brees versus Tom Brady, the 2 passing touchdown leaders of the league. I'll take the Buccaneers over the Saints at home, despite them looking shaky against the Giants. As for the Bears, they travel down to Tennessee to take on the Titans. And after their humiliating loss to the Bengals last week, something tells me that the Titans are looking to take their anger and humiliation out on the Bears, who are still trying to figure out how to construct a damn offense. I'll take the Titans over the Bears. Buccaneers at Giants. The Bucs traveled up to New York Monday night to take on Tom Brady's kryptonite, the Giants. Many people believe it was Eli Manning who held the curse over Brady with his 2 Super Bowl wins, but I believe it's simply the organization as a whole that holds the key to defeating Brady. After all, the Giants opened up with a sizable lead and seemed to rattle Brady, taking control of the game. However, Daniel Dimesworth-Jones had a very inconsistent game, making key mistakes and not really learning from them either. Don't get me wrong, with his first and last touchdown passes, they were a work of art. Mwah! Beautiful. Dimes, if you will. But the majority of the throws thrown in between those throws, not so much. About as beautiful as that last sentence. That's including what was essentially the final play of the game. Jones threw a late ball to the front corner of the end zone. However, Bucs safety Antoine Winfield hit Golden Tate before the ball ever got there. It was a bang-bang play, but it was suspicious as hell. But when the flag was picked up, and it was a blatantly bad call upon watching the replays. Now everyone's bitching and moaning, for good reason I suppose, but you gotta remember, these guys are paid millions of dollars to win games. As Chuck Noll once said, you gotta play better than the refs ref. We all know the refs fucking stink from time to time, but that's just no excuse for losing. Well, I've already made my pick on the Bucs taking on the Saints, so let's move to the Giants going to Washington. As reluctant as I am to make any sort of pick on an NFC East matchup, I'll take the Giants over the I almost did it! Oh, Aw, you tricky bastards. I'll take the Giants over the football team, just for the sake of hating their fucking name. This weekend...
Holy shit!
Well, first off, I just want to give an honorable mention to Nyheim Hines for his absolutely bonkers celebrations. I mean, Jesus.
Holy shit!
Anyways, moving on. Finally a week I don't have to talk about the damn Cowboys in this segment. Instead, I get to talk about how fucking stupid Bears wide receiver Javon Wims acted. I mean,
holy shit!
Get this, man. Shit, my bad, I misspoke. Get this punk out of the fucking league. We don't need that sucker punching temper tantrum hoopla in this sport. This is a sport of men in principle. You want to step up, you step to his face instead of running up like a little girl and snatching his chain before driving your fist into his face mask. Oh yeah, that brings me to who in the hell punches a man with a helmet on? I mean, what are you trying to do? Itch his head while you shatter your hands that make you millions of dollars? I don't know if you know this, but dudes celebrate big plays by running up and smashing their heads into each other. I don't think a couple of love taps are gonna hurt anyone but yourself, buddy. However, I do think I finally got a solution for all this counterproductive chain snatching going on lately. I say you take a beef squashing timeout, line these men up at midfield, and let us see which man's will prevails with a good old-fashioned Oklahoma drill. Best of 7, no flags, let these guys go at it as dirty as they want. The man that gets knocked off his ass last gets thrown out of the game fast. Want to make it really interesting? Give us some clubs to work with. What? They've got pads. And now for this week in fantasy. Yes! Fucking yes! Timmy! Oh, thank Reagan you're here. And I've got terrific news. My man, my number one pick, my Christian Mac Daddy McCaffrey is back. After missing 6 games due to a high ankle sprain, C-Mac is finally ready to attack. Gone are the days of constantly shuffling my lineup in hopes to find someone even half as competent to fill the void this man left in the heart of my team. He may be somewhat limited, being the first week back from injury, but regardless, if he starts, this man better be in your lineup. His explosive playmaking ability on a team without much else going for him practically guarantees at least a solid day from this offensive powerhouse. I'm fucking back, baby! What? How is this any help to you? Well, it's probably not, Timmy. Would you get the 10th pick in the draft? Fucking scrub. I just wanted to rub it in your face at least once before 2020 is bound to strike again. Now scram, Timmy! And just hope next time you come back I actually have something of use for you. Ha, 10th pick in the draft. That bottom feeder. Must have got him from his father. I know those genes didn't come from my genes.
And that was This Week in Fantasy!
Well, from all of us here at TNN NFL Sunday Kickoff, we hope you enjoy your Week 9 slate of games. And watch out what you say around NFL players. They're really sensitive. The fuck?
Get off my game!
Get in arm, dipshit!
Get off my field, boy!